First thing I want to say, brothers and sisters, today is thank you so much to Elizabeth Story for organizing this event. And can we get a round of applause for her? So I'd like to thank you all for attending. I see some other candidates here too, and that's great. It's my speech, by the way, so I shouldn't take too much of your time. I'll give you a little bit of a sense of the background. I come by my union activism, honestly. My grandfather was a tool and die maker for the Canadian National, a good union man. My father, a sheet metal worker, was president of his local in Sarnia, Ontario, and my brother was the president of that local as well for 10 years, and he moved on to be a business agent with the provincial body of the union. My other brother is the president of his United Auto Workers local. So we have it in the family. I grew up with unionism. It's part of who I am. The values are in me. They're part of me, and that's why I'm here. My own personal history, after I left Ontario, I moved to Grande Prairie, Alberta. There I organized, I was a truck foreman at the Northern Alberta Dairy Pool. In that role, some of the other workers in the dairy came to me and said, Steve, they're pushing us too hard, they don't respect us, what can we do? So we get to work, we form a union, and that's how it came about that I was downstairs in the basement of our duplex organizing a conspiracy to form a union while my wife was upstairs getting fitted for her wedding dress. So, subsequently, we were very successful in that organizing drive. I moved on to the Pepsi-Cola distributor for the Peace Country, and there again, the employers were pushing these workers far too hard. They came to me. We built a union there as well, and from there I moved on to where I am today. In 1989, I left Grande Prairie, came to Edmonton. In 1991, 2 years later, I took a job with Edmonton Transit. In 1993, I was appointed a shop steward, one of only 2 shop stewards, mind you, in the system at that time. The other one was the son of the president, and I'll leave it to you to figure out who that might have been. But it's part of why I sponsored the motion to amend our bylaws. In its original format, it required that we have a minimum of 7 shop stewards. Today, with the recent change to the bylaws, we're required to have 1% of our membership as shop stewards. And I'm very proud of that. I think that that's a great thing. It's a way of involving more and more people in our union, and it's working. I see more and more people. In the old days, they seemed to try to keep people pushed away. They didn't want people to be involved. We do. We need people involved. That's what we're all about. I moved from shop steward to 1995. I was elected an operator rep. 1998, a vice president. 2001, I was elected to be your financial secretary, a position in which I served for 6 years. And I'm quite proud of the work that we did in that period as well. All of that has led me to be involved in politics as well. And over the years, since I would say since 1968, which was Pierre Trudeau's first election as Prime Minister, I have been involved in one manner campaigning in virtually every federal, provincial, and municipal campaign since that time. And that, in turn, has led me to have close contacts and connections within the political world. I served 2 terms, 2 years as the provincial president of the provincial party, the NDP, and I've served as its treasurer, and moved on and done a lot of things. I guess moving away from my own history and where I come from, what I do, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the issues that I see that are important for us here now. Somewhere near the top of my list of those things is our pensions. And earlier this year, the Alberta Federation of Labour, Bill McGowan, appointed me or nominated me for appointment to the LAP Pension Board, the Local Authorities Pension Plan. Your pension plan is the 7th largest pension plan in Canada. It's a massive pension plan. There are 250,000 members in it, 250,000 people. It has assets of over $35 billion. That's billion, folks, not millions. It's a massive plan, and we owe it to ourselves and to each other to be very, very careful about how that plan is managed. That's why it's important to be at that table, and I plan to continue at that table for some time to come. The biggest issue there is around the structure of it. It exists by virtue of provincial statute, and the sole trustee, the person that actually has to push the button on virtually everything that happens in that pension plan, is the Minister of Finance, who has way too much work to do to have to worry about our pension plan. It should be run and operated by those who put the money into it. You and me and the employers who fund the plan should be the ones who operate it. That's the changing governance that we're looking for, and that's the changing governance that this government, not the government, has promised that they'll do before the end of their term. On your long-term disability fund, I had the question come to me, Steve, it's great to get a bunch of money in my pay envelope, but what's the deal? How come we're getting this money back? And when we took office at the beginning of 2014, the most recent meeting that the union had with the city over our long-term disability fund was in 2010. And even at that time, they did nothing with it. It just sat there. So it just sat there year after year. You were paying 2 3/4% premiums into that fund. Year after year, it's growing this surplus. So we have undertaken to work with the city to get that surplus distributed. In fact, what it comes down to is that you are overpaying your premiums. And we said, no, you have to give that back to those people who were overpaying those premiums. And I'm sorry, Darby, you're not part of that plan.
Unfortunately not.
Yeah.
I didn't get a big check.
Okay, sure.